A while ago I promised you to do a video on how I made this cute little stone. Well, the stone itself is about 10 centimeters big from abroad. Yeah, and maybe the most surprising part of this whole stone making process is I made them with the Derwent Inktense pencils. You can use those on stone, on wood, on all kinds. Of course, afterwards you need some kind of varnish to have a, you see that it's glowing a bit, to have a finishing touch and to make it weatherproof. But other than that, I'll show you how to work it. So we're going to be stamping on a stone. The stone I used here is made out of concrete. I just made it myself, but nevertheless, if you use a real stone, always put in a layer of gesso first. I'm using the Amsterdam white gesso because that's it has a nice coverage. So basically 2 layers and it's done. You can work, and that's something I like. Of course, when you're going to work with these pencils, you need some water and some kind of tissue paper, old cloth or whatever to brush your brush to clean your brushes on. The brushes I use are the Da Vinci Color, and the number is 5522. I have those in 4 sizes, a number 1, a number 2, a number 4, and the number 6. That's basically my I don't know. These are the ones I use. That's the number 6, not so much, just a little, and the other ones are my big friends during this video. Well, stamping is done with an archival ink. The one from Ranger I'm using because it's this one dries fast and it's permanent and waterproof. There are a whole lot of other inks that you that also say I'm permanent. I also say I'm waterproof, like Stazon or Stazon. I don't know how it's pronounced in English, but that one has a solvent in there, and when you spray it with your varnish, it will dissolve and make a real mess on your stone. So don't use that one. So I just stick with archival because it works for me. So if you have that at home, you're good. The pencils. So let's clear out some things I discussed already. Archival ink, bye-bye. Then brushes, bye-bye. Then using these Derwent Inktense pencils. Of course, I had them in a real nice order, but for the blues, the blue colors, I have 3 kinds, 3 colors. I'll be using the Malibu in the sky, the mineral blue for the lake, and the deep indigo for all the others. In the snow, in the shades, everywhere. Deep indigo is the best one to go for. Then, for the trees, I used only 1 color, the beach green. Where I wanted a bit more dark, I used either more beach green or added a bit of indigo. So beach green is the one you need for the trees. Then we did the sky. In the sky this time I did a little sunset kind of atmosphere. I used 2 colors, orange sorbet and pink flamingo. You can see them right here. Then I have a tree stem, and the tree stem, well, I used 3 kinds of brown, but if you want to buy these pencils, take one please. don't use 3, but I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to colors. So natural brown, sepia ink, and the Willow are the ones I use in this video. Then I have one left over, and that's a sun yellow. The sun yellow I basically only used in the lantern. I made the stone a little bit different from this one. I used one of the fairy foragers with a tiny lantern, and I used a bit of yellow in it. You can also use a bit of yellow in the sky if you want to. So yellow. Then to cover your lines or trace your lines, trace your lines. I'm using some kind of pigment archival fine multiliner, pigment liner, call them whatever you want. These are 3 kinds that work for me. The Copic Multiliner, perfect, works, no trouble with the varnish afterwards. The Micron works perfectly. It also has archival ink in there, so that's great. And the Staedtlers also work fine. Just make sure you let them dry before you spray the varnish on top of it, and then you have no problem. Then for the snow, the snowflakes and the snow on top of the trees, I use either a Posca pen or this Molotov one for all acrylic twin marker. Well, you don't need a twin marker except, but one of those, both, it doesn't matter. I like this one because it has 2 tips. Small tip, and when you turn it around you have a big tip, so 4 millimeters. That's great for adding some snowflakes. And the Posca I also like, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. Well, then we have a pencil sharpener. I have this LAV658. That's the best pencil sharpener I ever owned. So if you can get it, well, you won't regret it. That's bad. That's really bad. Then for the stamping, I use some kind of sticky tape. This is a masking tape. It comes on a roll. You can use a masking stencil, masking whatever is a bit sticky. Sticky works better than when you use a regular sheet. You can also take a piece of 80 grams copy paper, but that shuffles around, and this is easier to work with because it sticks. So it looks like my working field is empty, but we still have to talk some stamps. First of all, the main characters on the stamp. There are 3 kinds, and I'll just remove the stone for now. There are 3 kinds that work. The small Pixies, the fairy foragers, or the dancing fairies. Numbers I will write down below the video. But these 3 sets are the sets with the smaller fairies, and therefore you can use them very well on the stones, because the other fairies will be quite big. You need a different scenery for that. So these 3 sets you can use. Just get these here. Then we have some trees. First the pine trees. I used this new set with the, what's it called again, small pine trees. You can read the number here as well, but I will write it down in the list. The small pine trees work perfectly for this scenery. Then I used a bigger one that's called the Fir Tree. Just a regular, it looks like this. Really cool one. And in the background I use this tree scene. Also cute because they're really small trees. And this line up here. So it's easy to use for this project. Then we have the bigger trees. you can choose between either the Tree of Courage or the Tree of Hope. Basically, they are identical. It's just when you use the Tree of Courage, you have the tree on the left side. When you use the Tree of Hope, you have the one on the right side. So that's your own creativity. You can use both. You can use either one of them. Just whatever makes you happy. So that's that. And last, and we have the leaf spray and the orchid grass. And I used very, very, very little of that. I only used it to stamp a few short tips in the foreground to have a little foliage in there. So, and then I used this one on the left with the small, with the fine structure, and the orchid grass also works fine for that. So if you have those, it's cute to use. And then we're at the end of quite a big materials list, but yeah, well, that's how it works when you well, I always use a lot of products when I make something with my Lavinia stems, so I bet you recognize that. Well, then there it is again. I have one more look before you start, because this was the materials list, and we're now gonna start with the real stone making. So sit back, relax, or work along with me, also fine. And please, I would really love it if you show me the result. That's the coolest thing for me. So good luck and create something pretty. So as promised, I'll show you how I made my Lavinia stones. First of all, I cheated a bit because I'll take the example away. I make my own stones. I cast them in a stone mold using concrete. So I get these nice, flat, smooth stones. You can see the bottom will give it away. And over here. But you can use any kind of flat stone for this. No problem. Just over here I have a hard time finding them. So I decided to cast my own stones. So what I do next is I take a sponge of some kind. Lavinia has the white ones. I use a white gesso. I'm using the one Amsterdam, the Amsterdam white gesso, because I think that's a very nice one. Then I put in mostly 2 layers of gesso, and I'm done. So then we have our white stone. I'll zoom in a bit because we don't have to see everything on the table. So I take a piece of this sticky paper. It's a masking paper. It sticks everywhere, and I just stick that onto the stone. I'll zoom out a little because as you cannot see what I'm stamping. I'll take my ink pads. You need the archival ink for this. The VersaFine won't dry. And I'll take my stamp. This is the Fir Tree stamp, the regular one. And I'll just be stamping it over here. Then I have a big acrylic block. Very old and ugly one, but that doesn't matter. And I just ink my stamp. The archival ink is always a bit dry, so you need a few tries to get it wet enough. And then I'll place it on my stone where I want it. I'll press it down with one finger, and with the other ones I'll press the stamp. This is the tricky part. I will admit that. Because you cannot use an acrylic block. Because the acrylic block won't cover the round surface. And then I'll take it off. And of course, some parts are missing. That's normal. That's also because the archival ink is very dry. But also because of the round stone and pressing by hand and everything. But it doesn't matter. Because later on when we're starting to color it, it will all be perfect. You just have to make it perfect. That's the trick. And then I got the little trees from the, it's the small fir tree set, I believe the name is. Small pine trees from Lavinia. And I will just put them next to each other. What you can also do is take the tip of this one, put it over here, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll just press it like here. It doesn't matter if it's not totally perfect, so just press it, take it off. That's very thick, but that's okay. We'll cover them in snow anyway, so. And then I'll take a smaller one. Or the long one. I'll take the long one. I'll put it all the way over here. Just be careful not to put it in front of the camera. Ta-da, it worked. I'm cleaning it straight away because the archival ink sticks a bit to the stamps. So, and then maybe one small one over here. This one. So this smaller one, I don't use a stamping block for it because that doesn't matter. I'll just replace my sticky paper to somewhere around about here. I think that's cool. We have a very tiny tree. Let's see if I'm not in front of the camera. How that's tricky over here because it slides away from the side, but that doesn't matter. So for now it's really not pretty, right? But no worries, it will be when we get a little bit further in the process. Just clean your stamps right away. And we'll put a small tree over here. Maybe a tiny one next to that one. For this one I'll be using the fir tree. I was doubting a bit, but no, fir tree. Ink it and press it, and of course it will fill a bit, but don't worry about that. Let's clean your stamp, and we'll moving to the other side of the stone, and I make a little hill with my paper like this, not too steep, just like that is fine. And over here I will be putting some trees as well, and I think I'll just stick with this one, with the regular fir tree. Just ink it somehow, don't ink your fingers like I did, and then press it. It's like performing CPR on a stamp. Great. This has to stay. It's and on the side here it's a bit more tricky, but we'll manage it. Just like that. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Cleaning the stamp, putting it away. So that's step 1. Step 2 is I'll take my tree, and for this I take the Tree of Courage. This can be removed. And with the Tree of Courage, I'll be putting it right here over everything else, and I'll be pressing it like this. So that's gonna be a bit harder, but okay, we'll just do it. Ink the stamp like you're used to. I always ink it extra thick. And then I'll just lay it down somehow. Careful not to slide. And press it. Looking at the stem, that's good. And everything that fails we'll correct later. Like this, it's a bit blurry, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And then there is another set I use in the background, mostly another set of trees, and that's the small tree set. And small tree scene, sorry. And then I'll take this cute little line, and it's gonna go over here. But I'm not stamping this in black, I'll be stamping this in blue. You can use blue, like for example this cobalt or the shadow gray. Last time I used blue, this time I'll go for shadow gray, why not? Just take my, these are the mini inks. Take my stamp, ink it. The shadow gray, it's hard to see if you inked it everywhere, but just go for it. It's a background, so for this, because it's in the background, it doesn't really matter if it's not covered by everything. Don't go too low, because else you have no space for the lake. Press it, press it. And hope for the best. Well, that's okay. When we start to use the pencils, we give some color. Okay, so this for now, this is the stamping is done. You can put in the fairies already, but I chose to do that last, and I don't know why. That just yeah, works for me. But you can also stamp them now because everything will be waterproof. You can use water over it, so it doesn't matter if you stamp the fairies already. But I'll stick to this for now. I'm doubting. I'm kind of thinking I want another tiny tree here, or some. Yeah. I'm not really happy with this right now, so or still happy, whatever. I'll just make it a bit better. There's a little island here in the lake, so what I'm gonna do is I'll stamp some trees there. Maybe a larger one. Just put this one here, like a tiny tree. Yay. And then over here I want a bigger one. Those small fir trees are actually very helpful because of the stem. You can hold it. So you can just hover above and then press it down with your fingers once you think it's okay. So there's my island. And now we're gonna do some coloring. Just clean out everything here. The coloring is done with the Derwent Inktense pencils, and I have them right here. I'll try to show you the colors as good as possible. And first of all, I'll be doing some shading with the deep indigo. There'll be a line over here. There's an island over here. Just like that. And that's basically it for now. So what I'm doing next is I'll take a small brush and a bit of water and some tissue paper on the side. I wet my brush. And this works great. Here at the bottom, it's better to turn your stone around and go from there. Okay, so now the landscape is already starting to form. We'll continue with some more shading. For example, here underneath the trees. I'll just color with my pencil on the stone, take some water, and create some shading. Over here as well. And this, all the excess, extra, or color that's too much, you can remove with water. That's no problem. Also, if you want this to be less harsh, you can just soften it with a bit of water. That's the great thing with these Inktense pencils. So I can also color the trees. Just put some green over it. For the green, I used Beech green. Hope you can read it. Just color over it. Also over the black. Just make them all green. Doesn't have to be neat, just color. Color, color, color. I'll take my water and my brush. Maybe go to the side a bit. You can also, if you want to make, I want to make this a bit darker, so I'll take my brush, take some from the point of the pencil, just take some color. You might have noticed that I don't start by fixing these lines. That's something I do at the very last moment, because then everything is dry, everything is done except that, and you don't have sometimes the fine line the pigment liners I have, they flow a little with the water because of the gesso. And so I do the finishing touches at the very last. That's why they're finishing touches. This tree also got some color. I just have to grab my browns. Okay, so first I took the willow. And you have to look a bit carefully where the lines are, but it's okay. I'll take my brush. And you see how easy it is with these pencils to create something cool. And the rest I'll do later, because this will go a lot darker. But there's still a lot of shading to do. So I take my indigo again. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the brown color I used is the willow for now. But later on I'll use some other colors as well. So this is still not dark enough. I'll just add another layer. It's the same for over here. Basically underneath every tree. I'll create some shade. Don't be shy to use color. At the base of the trees, the shading is always darker. So that's why I'm adding a little extra from the tip now. Alright, just let it dry and see what happens. You can always add more color later on. So now it's time to give some color to the lake. I'll be using mineral blue for that. Just go around the edges of the lake, the borders, the edges, I don't know. A little bit here, a little bit there. Take some water again. And then the bottom part always works best upside down for me. So over here I want it to be a bit wider, so I add some water and remove some color, and then we have a lake and a bit of snow. For the snow you can also use a bit of the same color, that doesn't matter. And what I did is put a bit on the side. When you only use indigo for the snow, it's a bit dark and depressing. So I'll just add a little bit of that mineral blue so it gets this icy look. And the rest I'll do later. So go a bit more upwards into the trees in the background. Somehow there's water here. Trees over here can also get a little indigo at the bottom. And maybe some where they overlap each other. Overlap? No. Not sure if that's a word. And I'll put it sideways or almost upside down. Take a small brush. And just color in those trees a bit. Nothing hard, just a bit of color. And if I want to, I can add some more later. Okay, then I have some mountains, and the mountains I created by taking the indigo and just try something like that, and a big one over here. I just added some borders. You can also take a grayish tint, but well, I have the indigo now here, so. And I take some water. This is to start with, just to mark where there are. If you get too much pigment in your brush, you can clean it a bit with water again. So there we have some mountains. And now we can get a bit of extra color in some parts of the mountain. It's always a light part and a darker part. Okay. And then we need some sky. And the sky I made by using pink Flamingo in this drawing. Painting, stone, work. And I just color around the edges of the mountain. Don't use too much pink. Put it on the side. And in the corner over here, I had some orange, like the sun is setting over there. Or sundown, also fine. I'll take a bit of a bigger brush, number 4, number 6. Number 6 is a bit too much, but number 4 is okay. And I'll just wet everything again. You can take quite some water. You can also wet the top of the stone. And for now, here in the orange sorbet, I took all right. Now the sky is only orange and pink. Of course, I need some blue in there. And for the blue, I take this Malibu, because that's a nice, soft and not too dark kind of blue. And I add it to the left side. And a bit on the side of the stone, but that depends on what kind of stone you're using. You can, of course, also do this on paper. And just with water, Everything turns pretty. So, and now you can see when you did the sky that the mountains are still very white. So we need a bit of a shine on it. We need a bit of more shading on it. So let's do that. And for that I take my color from the tip of the pencil. Because you have a lot. If you take too much, just wet it. Just take a bit of water and make it go. And now we're gonna take a little bit of that orange, swipe it like twice or something, and put a little bit of orange on the right side of the mountains. We have the orange on the right side of the image. So on the right side of the mountains, we'll be putting a little bit of orange. Not too much, tiny bit. As you get shiny mountains, that's a bit too much. All right. Now we'll take a look below at the snow again, because the snow can also use a little sheen from the sky reflecting on the snow. So we'll take a bit of pink, also from the tip, and add a tiny bit of pink in the snow. Oh, tiny bit, that's a bit much. But if you take too much, you just remove it with water, no problem. And now I'll just play with my colors. Adding a bit of blue, adding a bit of indigo, maybe some mineral blue even. Can also take a bigger brush. By making it a bit darker over here, it looks like there's a little hill. Adding some mineral blue in the shade to get it a bit more attractive. And now the tree needs some work. Like I said before, yes, I'm gonna do some extra color. Just have to sharpen my pencil a bit. over here we have this two stems separating. I'll just take this piece by piece, bit by bit, maybe a bit more close up so you can see what I'm doing. This needs to be darker. And now I'm darkening it on one side to create more depth. And to be doing the same over here, just one side. I'm doing with the natural brown, by the way. Natural brown. So for here, I'll be darkening the bottom side. I'll just make it like it is one stem over here. All right. If you don't think it's dark enough, there's one more color you can add. It's not black, but it's the Sepia ink, and that's a real dark one. Also really pretty. This one will make it a bit darker, or even more dark. That's what I mean. And it's almost black, but not totally black. And the rest I'll be doing with the fineliner later, with the pigment liner. So let's see. Yeah, we got the sky. Now it's time to add some snow in the trees, and when you do that, it's gonna be really wintry. So I'll be using a Posca marker. Small, I have the small one right now, that's fine. And what I just do is add some snow. And that's why I said the stamping, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, because we'll add some snow. When you do that, I'll take a little bit, my tiniest pencil I have, that's a brush, sorry, not a pencil, brush. And at the bottom of the snow, I'll wet it. So the snow will fade out a bit. You can add some more if you want. I think that's a really cool effect. I'll be doing that in the other trees as well. And then I'll take my pencil, brush, and just fade it a bit. And this is a very dark one. A bit too thick maybe even. But when you add the snow, it doesn't matter. See? And the green from the pencils will mix with the snow a bit when you use the water on it. And gives the perfect look. Over here we have this thick one again. It really doesn't matter, just go over it. Just drawing some lines, some a bit thicker, some a bit thinner. Take the brush. And it doesn't matter anymore. When the layer is dry, you can add some more white if you want to. Let's go to the other side. I made a tiny mistake because the tree is in front of the fir tree, but oh well. Yeah. So okay, that's good. So for now, I think the bottom part needs a little bit of, well, it needs some plants at the bottom, foliage. Therefore, I have this orchid grass or the leaf spray, and then use this one, the one with the tiny yeah, the tiny thingies. So I'll be just using a tiny bit near the tree, over here. You don't need a whole lot of foliage, just a few bits. Can even put them in front of the trees. Let's take the other one. And basically only use the tip of the plant. Right. Oh, that's enough. More than enough. Just put them away again. Yeah, well, it's time to stamp some fairies. Just don't want to make exactly the same stone as I had before, so just see what I have here. Oh, this one is cool. I have the dancing fairy set because you need the small pixies or the small fairies. I have here a dancing fairy. I can put it right there. You can use the small pixies, that's this one, or the foragers. And I have those right here. I always stick to the package. So these are the foragers. In the other stamp I had the foragers over here, but I wanted to make something different. So, where's my acrylic block? It's nowhere. No, I'll just do it like this. Zoom out a little, so you can see all the mess I made on the table. Ink it really well. Take it off. And this is pretty scary, I'll admit that. The wings need to be almost perfect, and the face. The rest you can add and you can adjust. So let's hope. I think it worked out. Ta-da! That's pretty good. The rest I just adjust later. So that was one tiny fairy. Can make a flying one, dancing one. Oh, now I have some hard time choosing. Where's the other set that's here? I'm going to use the one with the lantern. I think it's also cool. I'll just need to adjust the lantern, make it a bit white. But okay, that doesn't matter. I love it because he's looking a bit upwards. And that's why he's stamped on acrylic block and not on your table. Scary, scary. And the legs are there. And let's hope. Yay, that's good. The rest I'll do, well, not later, but right now. So, time to make everything perfect. Zoom in. Because you see some lines missing, you see some lines extra, you see some color missing. I'll just be taking a pigment liner. I have a few different ones. Also, you've the microns are also, you can also use this one, no problem. And I'll just start to color up the stamp. This is too small. It'll take forever. I got a lot of sizes and different kinds of those. And just color in the blacks. This works better. And over here, the legs here have a little shadow because the stamp moved, but you can fix that with a little white. Yeah, that looks good. Then the lines up on the tree we have to fix. Just do it upside down because I also am with my hand in my wet work over there. That doesn't really work. You don't have to darken all the lines, but only the ones missing or the ones you want to stand out more. We still need to add some snow on the branches, so once we've done that, it's done. That's good enough. And now we need to add some snow on the branches. So I'll be using my Posca again. And make sure it runs. And add some snow on it. And at this point where I said, hey, I have a little double foot here, I just adjust it a bit and done. And the snow in the sky is not very visible, but when you don't put it there, you'll be missing it. Okay. Good enough. You can add some shadow in the fairy. Some highlights. Just have to clean out my Posca a bit. Here's it. Right. So around the back here, I'll just put in a white line. Take my small pencil brush. And so. I had a smaller brush, right. It's the same for this one. I'll just be doing it like this. I think that's good enough. I'll just do some in the wings here. Just a bit. Oh, sorry. Do not have them see-through. And then that's basically it. Now where I put the foliage, I just want some more shading, like here, because now it's a bit floating. So I'll just put in some color, just a bit. A bit of color is quite a lot if you use these pencils. if you have too much, just wipe it away. Yeah. So now I have my second stone done. All I need to do now is use some varnish. Use a spray varnish when you do this. First, let all the lines dry, everything, just let it lay there for, well, overnight or a day, or to make sure all the inks are really dry. Then use a spray varnish and cover it so you get a little protection. This is very matte at the moment. I used a high gloss spray varnish to protect the image. So now I have 2 of those. A bit closer. You never get the same. Oh, I know what I forgot. I take a bigger, I forgot the snow. That really finishes it. For that I take an acrylic marker, 4 millimeters, and just add snow. You can also splash it by taking something to hit with, like a ruler. Then you get all those tiny splashes. Which is also cool, but for the bigger ones, just dab it. And now it's really done. Got some smaller snow, some bigger snow. That's a cool thing with these markers I have right here. It's a twin marker. You have a 4 millimeter side, and when you turn it over, you have a 1.5 millimeter. So you can make small snowflakes, big snowflakes. You just have a lot of cleaning to do right now because I didn't cover it. But so right now I have 2 stones. The only thing bugging me, this fairy is flying and I wanted her to be on the ground, so I'll just give her some ground. The longer you look, the more you see. That's that's a fact. Feet on the ground, just like that. Okay, so now I really stop doing anything because it can only make it worse. I really like how it turned out right now. So one more final thing, yeah. That's the lantern. I cannot go without giving that lantern a little light in it. A bit of yellow around it. Take a pencil, take a brush, jeez. Something with a donkey and a stone and making the same mistake twice. But oh well. So. A bit too much yellow, so I put in a little bit more white. And maybe even dull it with my finger. Or just remove some, but the yellow is very intense on these pencils. I also got a snowflake right in the middle of her face. Bye bye. And it's gone. And now, don't touch it. I have it done. And I love it. So, just acrylic varnish. And you're done. At the back, I don't know who's familiar. At the back I didn't do. At the back you can write a Christmas wish for anyone, or if you're in one of the Happy Stones or Travel Stones groups, you can write your name on it, or the group, your Facebook page, everything you want. But I'll just be using these as a Christmas card alternative this year, so for me it will be Merry Christmas from me to you. So thanks for watching. Hope you have I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you don't mind my perfectly stuttering English, but I hope everything I did is clear, and I wish you all the fun trying. And when you don't have a stone at home, you can always do this on paper. So good luck. I hope to see some pretty creations from all of you, and maybe I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.